Hey, how's it going? This is Antonio with Aztec. Today we'll be going over our rollaway stress series. The rollaway stress series is going to comprise of 3 different parts. Learning a full diaphragmatic breath, aka breathing through the belly. Then we're going to do some rolling out with a little ball. You can use a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, or softball, anything that you have lying around. Where you're going to attack the feet, the quads, the QL, which is the low back muscle attached from the lowest rib to the hip, and then as well as the traps. And then we're gonna wrap everything up with some box breathing, which is just a way to down regulate, right? And all these techniques can be paired together as kind of like end of the day or end of workout kind of routine, just to help you kind of bring your stress levels down, right? If you got a stressful day, a stressful week, finals coming up, whatever it is, feel free to take any one of these little parts of today's video in order to help get rid of some stress. So we'll start off with some diaphragmatic breathing. Ideally, we're gonna want to be in a lying 90-90 position, having some sort of chair or prop to lay your feet up. So I got my trusty bench here, and that's gonna prop me up with my feet on the bench, allowing a 90-degree angle at my knees and at my hips. From there, we're just gonna place our hands, one on the belly, one on the chest. Full diaphragmatic breathing is gonna be in 3 parts. The first part is ensuring that we're breathing into our belly, then we're breathing into our chest, and then expanding into our rib cage. That's the final piece of the full diaphragmatic breath. So first things first, placing one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And those of you who yoga might know this position very well. So, just starting to pay attention to your breath, seeing where it is, paying attention if it's really heavy into the chest, and trying to push it so we're breathing a little more into the belly. Breathing into the belly, and let it go. Try not to hold for too long right now. Just allowing that belly to expand to start. And as you gain bigger breaths and bigger control of your breath, we can add the second part, which is breathing into the chest and letting it all go, all at once. So taking it into 2 parts, breathing into the belly, into the chest, and letting it go. That is 2 parts of the 3-part breath of the full diaphragmatic breath, right? So let's try that one more time. Into the belly, into the chest, and let it go. The final piece is breathing into the rib cage. So you're gonna require taking your hands out on the rib cage, doing your superhero pose. And then paying attention, big breath into the belly, into your chest, and in that last third one, trying to push your rib cage into your hand, pushing out, and then letting it go. So 3 parts to the breath: belly, chest, and then last one, rib cage, and then letting go. And then trying to do a few repetitions that way. Ideally 5 repetitions to start, then eventually you'll be able to build up to 10, 15, 20, all in a series of one sitting, right? You can always feel free to break it up, just like traditional weight training, into sets and reps. So if right now you are doing sets of 8 and it's really hard to get to that 9th and 10th and you start losing concentration or whatever it is, stay in that 8. Take a second, maybe move around, get back down on the supine position with your knees at 90, do another set that way, maybe doing 3 sets of 8, right? Breaking it up a little bit more like traditional weight training. So that's your full diaphragmatic breathing right there. 3 parts: belly, chest, and then expanding out into the rib cage. Really beneficial, especially when we have a lot of dysfunctional breathing in our day-to-day lives. We're slouched over, breathing into our chest and putting all of our tension into our neck. Cool. So the next part, we're just gonna do some rolling with any sort of ball that you have. First off, we're gonna start a little funky with the feet, right? So I'll stand up so you guys can see the feet. Take the ball, and we're gonna place it right on the balls of the feet on the side, starting off with the big toe side. Your choice which side you wanna go on, and all we're gonna do is just fan side to side, keeping the heel down on the ground. Whoops. And you're gonna start to feel some stuff. Maybe not a lot, maybe a lot, just depending on where you carry the stretch. And then we're gonna move up a little bit, and then we're gonna fan again, side to side, and you might start feeling more here. It's a good way to start rolling out the feet, and then we can move up about an inch, rolling side to side, kind of like mashing in, like we're moving a fan across a ball. And if this becomes too intense, feel free to lift the heel and take weight off the ball, like so. And you just move the ball side to side, as if you're playing soccer. And then now we're on to the arch. Again, you can have the heel down and taking a lot of weight on. Again, if not, you can always have the heel off. Feel free to take as much weight off the foot as possible. And just rolling side to side. And eventually, we're gonna roll over. This time, toes are on, with the back part of the foot still fanning side to side, closer to that heel. This might be where most people start to feel really junky. Feel a lot of discomfort in this area. And just moving side to side, because this is where all the muscles of the feet attach to the heel. Cool. And then eventually we get to the heel. Side to side. There. Cool. That's just fanning side to side. We can also do it another way. We start with the ball on the big toe, like we started in the beginning, but this time we're going to roll across all the way to the heel, from the big toe to the heel. And we can do this a couple times, maybe 3-4 times. And then when you've done your third, you can come onto the ring toe, if you will, the pointer toe, excuse me. And then you do the exact same thing. Up to you how many times you want to do this, right? If you're just starting out rolling your feet, maybe 2 times is enough, right? For our purposes, I'm only going to show 2. Next up, we're going to go to the middle toe. And again, from the toe all the way to the heel and back. And then we go on, this time to the ring toe, to the heel and back. And then finally onto the pinky toe, all the way to the heel. And try to keep your foot on the ball and back. All right, feel free to pause and rewind all the way to the beginning and follow through with the exact same thing on the other foot. But next up, we're just gonna go over to the quads. The quads, right in the front part of the thigh, right? We're gonna start off with something a little different. We're gonna start off with right above the knee. And when we put the ball on the quad, we're just gonna roll side to side on the quad. So laying down on the belly, taking the ball right above the knee. And from here, you might already start feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of discomfort. You do not have to feel that you have to put all the discomfort in the world into this. You do have to feel some, but if it's too much, back off, take weight off. But if you can tolerate more, feel free to add more weight by lifting the opposite foot. And from here, we're just gonna start going by side to side here. And then if we can, trying to remember our diaphragmatic breathing. Trying to take those long, slow, deep breaths. And when you're ready, just like we did with the foot, we're gonna roll up a little bit. Side to side. Trying to keep the ball on your thigh. And just kind of scrubbing in, checking into the quad, seeing what position feels the most tender. So up here for me, it's not as junky. I can put in a lot of weight here. So I'm gonna go back to the knee, top part of the knee, where I felt the most amount of discomfort. And what we're gonna do is practice some breath work, right? So we can get ready for our box breathing at the end. I'm gonna take some weight on. I'm just gonna hang out there for a little bit. And I'm gonna breathe in for 4. At the top of my breath, I'm gonna hold my breath and squeeze my quad as hard as I can for 4. And I'm gonna exhale nice and slow for 4. And we're only gonna do that twice on this side. So it's gonna be a big breath in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold and squeeze for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you're exhaling, you want to release that quad as well, as at the same rate as you're exhaling. So theoretically, we can go a little deeper every single time. So let's do that one more time. Big breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold and squeeze for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? So again, that holding position can be anywhere in the quad. It's just where you feel that you're gonna need the most attention. And the exact same thing, feel free to pause and rewind and go to the left quad and do the exact same thing. But next up, we're gonna go over the QL. The QL is that low back piece, that low back muscle, right? If you find your hips, use your thumbs. All right, my hips are right there. And then my rib cage starts right about here. The muscle right there in between is called your quadratus lumborum, right? Your QL. And that's exactly what we're gonna do, what we're gonna attack. So we're gonna lie down in a bridge position, take the ball right in that nook and cranny, lean back, and then from there, you find it in the spot, and then you can take as much weight as you can by bridging up and tilting the hips, right? I'm tilting my hips towards me and just laying in and then scrubbing side to side here. Trying to keep as much of your full diaphragmatic breath as possible. Here you can kind of set a timer, 15 to 20, maybe even 30 seconds. And just hanging out, scrubbing in, focusing on your breathing. And then maybe we can also shimmy down a little bit more, get a little higher into that QL. We're not trying to get into the rib cage necessarily, but just below it. It's a big area to attack, and just depending on the size of what ball you have, you might have to adjust a couple times to make sure you get the entirety of that QL. So I think that's been about 20-ish seconds. That's perfect amount of time. We don't have to spend all day here, by no means. And then we can come down on the other side and do another 15, 20 seconds. Right? Biggest misconception about foam rolling or any of this kind of basic stretching practice or self-loving, if you will, is that it doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. No more than 10, 15 minutes. Again, post-workout or right before you go to bed is perfect. Or right after you wake up, right? There's no rules as to when and where you can get this done. All right, next thing, we're gonna attack the traps, right? Upper part of the neck. This gets really junky, right? So upper part of the traps, all this area is where we hold all that stress. So what we're gonna do, again, is lay on our backs, and we're gonna start on the top part of the trap. And you can take as much weight as you can on the ball, right? You can start with your hips up, but if you're feeling a little spicy, you can bridge up, even lean into it more, right? But for a lot of us, just laying down on the hips is more than enough. And you kind of just breathe there, and then you'll notice the nice bony border of the shoulder blade, right? You can kind of, as you roll onto the side, you'll feel that blockage. That's your shoulder blade. And all we're gonna do is take that ball and trace it on the shoulder blade. Just trying to come all the way around, all the way to the bottom part of that shoulder blade. and then coming back up. Ooh, and then finding what is the most chunky. All right, for me, it's right there in that spot. Lower part of the upper trap, and all we're gonna do is start with palm by the pocket, thumb is up, and we're gonna raise the arm as straight as we can, trying to get the thumb, I can't do it today, but ideally that thumb touches behind me and come back. And we can do this kind of flossing maneuver. Let's call it 5 to 10 times, as many times as you can. 5 to 10 times is good. Let's do 3 for you. Boom, here. And back, right? That's just one of the ways we can attack the trap right while the joint is moving through its full range of motion. And ideally, the more we do it, the further back we're able to get into that, right? So that's just 4 techniques of 4 different areas that we can roll, right? Using any sort of ball that you have. So finally, we're gonna talk about our box breathing. Very similar to how we did the breathing with the quad, right? We're gonna breathe in for 4, we're gonna hold for 4, exhale for 4, and we're gonna hold it out for 4, right? So I am going to demo 5 rounds. Feel free to do these as many times as you can. Just like the diaphragmatic breathing, you can break it up however you want, sets and reps, or you can take it out in big chunks, right? Doing sets of 15, 20, 30, even if you'd like, right? Whatever gets you to do this practice is the best thing for you, right? So just to walk you guys through five rounds. Again, ideally, we're in this position, but we can also be in a bridge position or just a laying down position. Not really picky as to how or where you do this, but ideally, this is a good, nice position to get the low back out of extension. So, hand on belly, hand on rib cage, completely up to you. Also, eyes open, eyes closed, both are absolutely fair game. So I'm gonna take hand on belly, hand on chest, keeping my eyes open as I count you guys in. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cool. That's just an example of box breathing. You can make the inhales, exhales longer, making sure, thinking more like rectangle, right? In for 5 or 6, holding for 4, exhale for 5 or 6. Just making sure they're equal amounts of ins and outs, right? Try to make it as parallel as possible, if you will. Other than that, I hope these techniques serve you well. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we do our best to get to them. Have a great day. Best of luck.